The following program contains adult language, poor taste in jokes, racial slurs, political slurs, slants, and all sorts of things that, if you are sensitive and have a delicate constitution, you should probably go watch Teletubbies. You were warned.
Hey kids, welcome back to Roto Talk.
Kids, welcome back. So, happy Saturday to you. My goal for tomorrow is not to do a video, but to clean this frickin' workshop. It is a disaster. I might do a Thunderbolt overview thing. I wanted to do that yesterday and didn't get time. So, what we did, where we're at now, there's a piece of balsa that comes with this kit that goes on the front tongue here. So this is the front of your boat. Here's your radio box, all right? And this is just going to be glued on. I just used wood glue, honestly. I didn't even use epoxy. Did it this morning. I'm like, I need to glue that bit on there, so we did that. The other thing that I did, so don't forget to do that. That just goes in there. I'm not going to sand it right now. I'm not going to do nothing. The other thing I did yesterday, after we put this together, I did reinforce the insides a little bit with epoxy. Just to make it a little bit more stout, not too bad. Okay, see that twist? How it twists? You got to be careful about that. Not so much with a tunnel. This should straighten itself out fairly good. But like I built a rigger one time, and I've built so many Zippkits riggers, and they build so nice, so fast, so easy. But this one, I did it with a twist in it. I don't know how I did it because I built them the same way with my aluminum rails, and I had a twist in it. Thing drove like shit. So we're going to make sure this is straight. The next thing to do with this, in the manual, they say take some tape, masking tape, and put it over these two slots here, because we're going to seal this boat today. You don't want it getting into those because you won't be able to put your rides in on the bottom. I actually used clear hatch tape, which is like waterproof Scotch tape almost, instead of using ugly-ass masking tape, not that it matters. Now, the next thing I did, and I can't remember, I don't think it tells you to do this in the manual. It might. I honestly can't remember. Is I take some 80 grit and I sand along these edges, okay? Along these insides that we put in here and the bulkheads. And you can see where the bulkheads did get sanded, so they did need to come down, okay, a little bit. Do the battery box. A little bit there. All right. I don't know if it tells you to do that or not. I did it anyway. Because you're going to lay skins right across this top, and bada bing, there you go. You want that to lay nice and flat. So the manual says, and this is common practice with any boat at all, what you're going to do is you're going to do 2 layers. If you're using West Systems finishing epoxy to seal, or if you're using clear coat, which is one of the other ways I do it, use 2 covers or 2 coats on the inside of this boat everywhere. Don't worry about the outside just yet of like right here, radio box and all that, because we have to do some fitment. Don't worry about that, but we're going to go ahead and coat the insides here, the insides here. Okay, I am going to use what I call skin cream. All right, the reason being, I'm using fiberglass on this one. Again, like if you don't feel comfortable doing it that way, be my guest. Yeah, I don't know everything.
Do you know anything at all about the internal combustion engine?
That's just how I do it. I like using fiberglass. If you're going to add 2 ounces, 3 ounces, 4 ounces of weight to your boat, you might as well add some strength too. And with the fiberglass, the way I mix it, I only need to coat it once. Trust me, it's forever. It's good stuff. And it's going to add a little bit of rigidity to this boat, but I'm going to do 2 steps in one. So in the manual, read the manual if you're going to use 30-minute epoxy or finishing epoxy, but you need to seal this up. I would, if you're using 30-minute epoxy, thin it with denatured alcohol. It'll make it go farther, and it doesn't need to be that thick, okay? But if you're going to do normal 30-minute epoxy or even finishing resin, then do a coat, scrape it if you want, wait for it to cure, do another coat, wait for it to cure another day. Do it that way if you like. I'm going to use fiberglass. I'm also going to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. I'm going to take our sides, okay? Because when you do this stuff, you can see it's already warped. What you want to do is do seal the underside of this too. All right, and then after it's cured, then you're going to take 30-minute epoxy. We're going to butt this right up against there, and then we're going to do this number. Okay, I'm going to kill two birds with one stone like I always do, and I'm going to fiberglass the top of this and clamp the sides down so it cures and glues the skins on. Now, my custom mixture for this, I've been experimenting with it. I know it sounds silly, but I have a custom mixture for this process, and I call it skin cream. I know that's silly, but the skin cream, the reason I call it that is it's fiberglass, and I thin it. It's fiberglass resin, you know, like the real stuff, and I thin it about 10% with denatured alcohol. Then I add a little bit of micro balloons, you know, that powder fiberglass. Hang on. Stuff I always make a joke about being cocaine. Okay, measure right. Good stuff. All right, stuff will last you forever. I build a lot of boats, and you can see I still have a ton left. I mix a little bit of this in, and you might be asking, why are you thinning it with alcohol then thickening with this? I don't put much of this in, but something I've found, if you put a little bit of alcohol in your fiberglass with a little bit of that, it cures a little faster. When I say a little, I mean like 3 hours, okay? It cures a little faster, but it also, for some reason, isn't as rigid. It's a little bit more flexible. And I'll leave some in the cup, and we'll let that cure, and I'll show you what I mean. Because if you just take pure fiberglass resin and you let it solidify, it's like snap. You can break it. This stuff's it turns it into more like an epoxy, but with much more strength. So I call it skin cream, because that's my new method of using for glue for putting skins in.
I have one question, Dr. Frankenstein.
That's Frankenstein.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to seal with our fiberglass concoction all of these bays, all of this stuff. We're not going to seal here yet. Not going to worry about that yet. We're going to do this inside, all around here. Then at the witching end, as long as it hasn't started to pot, meaning get hot, I'm going to mix up another batch or use the same batch if it's still good enough. And I'm going to totally cover this and put it face down and clamp everything up and let her cook, as I always say. Okay? And it should be really nice once we're done. Then I'm actually going to put a 2x4 under here, because we got to remember I'm going to have clamps on here. I'm going to put a 2x4 under here like this, and I'm going to put weights on it so it takes any twist out. See that? That it may or may not have. Okay. So I'm going to go mix up some skin cream, and I'll be right back. Show you how I make my skin cream. It is not high tech. Okay. Use my scale. Take one of my silicone mixing cups that I love so much. Might even buy some more. Just okay. And I'm going to take and mix up a couple ounces of fiberglass. We're going to do 3. Okay. Close enough. Wow, 3 on the nose. Look at that. So just good old-fashioned, normal fiberglass. Buy it at Napa. Do whatever. Now, what I do, I take some denatured alcohol. I did make it to the hardware store today. I do buy it by the gallon. All right. And I don't even thin it 10%. That's not even close to 10%. But I do, if you go more than 10, it doesn't cure right. So don't put in a ton. You don't need a ton. I'm thinning it, but I'm not thinning. You know what I mean? Okay. Notice I have not put in the activator. Then I take a little bit, I'm not putting all that in, of microballoons in. And where's the lid? You know I'm going to knock that shit over.
Oh, somebody stepping a duck?
Be a bad day at the zoo. All right. Now, I don't know why, but this, just adding that little tiny bit, it's not enough to even thicken it, really. It cures better. If you just use it raw, it doesn't. It's really strange. I know it's weird. Thin it with a little bit of alcohol, then put a little bit of microballoons in there, but for some reason, it's kind of like if you use fiberglass rather than with fiberglass cloth, like you're supposed to, It cures much quicker. It really does. But if you use fiberglass resin by itself, it doesn't. I don't know. Maybe it's just maybe I live in one of those weird places. Okay, so now take some of this. We did 3, so we need 30 drops. You do 10 drops per ounce. If you screw up a little bit, put too much in, you're fine. I put in an extra couple drops probably, but it's not going to hurt anything. If you put in a ton, it'll cure too fast. If you don't put in enough, it takes forever. So try to stick. It's very hard to do 10 little drops at a time, but try to get it close. Okay. Now, adding that stuff made this look a little pukey. Now, I kind of like that because it's easier to see where I've applied it a little bit, not much. Just like epoxy. When you're trying to use, that's one of the reasons you do 2 coats of epoxy for sealing, because it's so hard to see. Chances are good you missed a spot.
I'm scared to close my eyes. I'm scared to open them.
So if you do 2, probably better. Now, just to be funny, my buddy that sent me the stickers and camel balls the other day, I'm going to seal in forever one of his company's stickers in the bottom of my boat. This is our battery tray. Okay, we are going to make this electric, I've decided. I already have a nitro outboard, and a couple people commented because I said I ain't no shit about electric outboards. Why don't you learn something? Do it different. Shout out to you, brother, that did that. I think he's right. I think we're just going to make this electric. Okay, so battery's going to go here, steering servo is going to go here, ESC is going to go around there, and receiver and bullshit go up there, I'm assuming. So we're just going to take our little cup of douche. Douche? It's not douche. And then we're just going to seal this forever. Now, like I said, if you don't feel comfortable using fiberglass for this gig, don't. Use epoxy, do it the way the manual tells you to, that's fine. I really like the way fiberglass works with this stuff, with sealing. I wish I would have done it years ago. It's cheaper, it's faster, technically, it's stronger, it's cheaper. I just refuse to pay that much money for West Systems. It's ridiculous. I use clear coat a lot of times. Depends on the structure of the boat. This is really thin wood, and this is going to give me... I'm adding the weight anyway, whether this was epoxy or fiberglass. Like I said before, 10 pounds of shit or 10 pounds of gold, still 10 pounds, right? So if you're going to add the weight, hell, you might as well get some strength out of it. Now, if you're using 30-minute epoxy, you'll get pretty good strength out of it, a little bit. West Systems, you won't get anything, in my opinion. West Systems so thin. That's good. That's the whole point of West Systems. It's not like the product's bad. That's what you're supposed to be doing. It's finishing epoxy, right? So I'm just going to go in, try to make this not so painful. When I'm editing this video, I might chop all this out and just high speed it. 3 ounces is more than enough. We're not going to be using all that, I don't think. And these are just those 1-inch chip brushes, they call them. I call them paint brushes. Oop, battery box came loose. Won't be for long. I buy these at Harbor Freight by the box. They're like $7 for 50 of them, something like that. And they work really well. They don't shed too bad. So when you're doing this, when you're sealing, and I'm only doing this one coat because it's pretty thick and it's pretty obvious where I put it, pretty obvious where I didn't put it. Make sure you get on all the hidden recesses, okay, like that. So the nice thing about these tiny little boats is you can move them. You can get around, do your thing. Okay. You guys probably don't need to watch all of this, so I'm going to turn this off, and once I'm done, I'll be right back. Give me a couple seconds here. Very easy. So we used about 1.5 ounces, I'd say, in sealing this whole thing. And everything's sealed. What I might do is take my heat gun. Now be careful if you're using fiberglass with a heat gun, because this stuff is exceptionally flammable. You will blow up if you get the heat gun too hot. Like my little heat shrink tubing heat gun I used to have, which I loved, finally bit the dust not too long ago. I need to buy a new one. That one was nice because it didn't get like 2,000 degrees like a real heat gun. So now what we're going to do is we're going to lace these. Okay, so these are our skins. Okay. Get a good seal. Okay. Wear gloves, man. Fiberglass sucks to get off. It really does. Anybody that thinks epoxy is going to be better than fiberglass has never used fiberglass, because I'm telling you, this stuff's forever. You ain't getting this apart. In my job, my career, and even when I was a kid, I suppose, I've been to boat factories doing what I do, you know, automation, and I've seen how they build boats. Fiberglass boats still have some wood in them, and they fiberglass them together. So yeah, you're building it a little bit more like a real boat in this case. They don't use epoxy on real boats so much. So that's okay. It's not like it. You do whatever blows your skirt up. That's the nice thing about this hobby. Do it the way you're comfortable with doing it. Don't do it like I do it. Even if the manual says, oh, do it this way. Well, if you think you've got a better way to do it, do it. Experiment. Have some fun. Learn something. That's what I do. Perfect your craft. You want to sound really stupid about it. All right. So now what we're going to do, I'm actually going to change these gloves, because I'm going to get nasties all over. Be right back. Okay. Okay, monsieur. Bend over. I shall give you prostate. All right. So we're just going to take one of these strips, slap it down. We're going to lock it right there. Okay. Then I'm going to take as a clamp, just like that. And we're going to try. We're not going to try. We're going to lock it down. This is important with any kind of skin that you do. Never, this is my opinion. Now, if somebody out there has a better way, please educate me. I don't know everything. Hell, I don't know it. I always walk my skins. So what I mean by that is never like do all the bottom, then do all the top. I go top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, top, bottom, all the way down. Because you can end up with a bubble, especially if you're doing compound radiuses. Trust me. Those of you building SLR Thunderboats or hydroplanes with compound radiuses and things like that, be very careful. I'm telling you. Don't go bottom, 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 top, 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 top. You'll end up with a bad skin job. Okay, there's that one. Okay. Lock it against the nose here. Just like that. Not but a peanut. Okay. And we're almost done with this video, which is good because I got some family stuff to do. Alright. Try to get, you know, any excess off. And what I do is, in this case, this is easy. This is the easiest skin you'll ever do in your life. And I'll just fill in the middle. So just do the major sticking points like that. It's fitting real nice. Okay. Now I got the mains. You just take some smaller ones if you want. No biggie. Doesn't have to be massive. There's no compound radius in this very simple skin. But, alright, make sure it's nice. Down. No gappage. Yeah, I don't like that end. Okay. Do one over here. Always try to clamp reasonably even. Yeah, that'll work. Alright. Then take our our 2x4. Found my lid. Alright. don't like that. That's pretty warped. Hang on. That's not too bad. Alright. I'm going to set this on this board like that. And the reason I'm using 2x4 is the clamps are in the way. I can't lay it down on a flat bench, right? Now, you don't have to do this. This is just me being... I want this boat to turn out nice. So, we're going to add some weights. Because this fiberglass is going to add a lot of backbone to this boat. Might get rid of some of this. Little. If you don't need it... I mean, if the shit's just pooling up anyway, you might as well spread it around. Okay. Add a couple weights. Nothing fancy. Just like that. Just a couple. Alright, easy. We're going to let that cook overnight. Ain't going nowhere today. It's 30 degrees out. So we'll just let her cook in here. I'll turn up the heat. It's what? It's 73 in here. We'll be okay. We'll just let it sit like this. The colder it is, the slower your epoxy goes, the slower your fiberglass cures. And be very careful with epoxy. Epoxy, if you're doing it below 40 degrees, believe it or not, a lot of people do. I used to, when I had a normal garage and I lived in Ohio, and I'd be epoxying something and I'd have a heater going, but then I'd have to turn the heater off at night. And I was building a boat one time and my skins popped off. And I was so pissed I had to redo the whole thing. So,
Oh, no tears, please.
so don't want to do that. So I think everything is... Oh, I forgot this. The manual even tells you, don't forget that. Bad day at the zoo. I think I only need one more for this. Now, fiberglass doesn't stick to metal real great, so we'll just let it sit up here. Little... It's alright, it's getting sanded anyway. Okay. Gotta seal this up. And you might even remember I said yesterday, I think, when we built this, or 2 days ago when we built this, I said, I don't like the way my old CA is pretty nasty. I didn't like the way it was holding. So I said, we're going to do an epoxy or a fiberglass job on this gig. So we're going to seal this up real nice. I bet I could, I haven't looked through the directions far enough. I bet I could probably just put this on. I think I might. Kill two birds here again. The nice thing about using fiberglass is you definitely get a lot more working time than you do with epoxy. Maybe we'll do this. Make sure box is good. Okay. And I'm going to actually put a clamp. Big wide clamp. It's awful strong. Hope that works. Okay. Take a little bit more. Now, it doesn't say to do this. I'm just doing it because I can't really see a reason why you couldn't put it on at this point. And I've already got the fiberglass out. Why not? Make sure it's good. Okay. Put our weights back on. Probably resealed in it after we sand it anyway. Alright, now we're good. So, until tomorrow or whenever I do another video, keep dry side up, kids. Talk bad.
Gangnam Style.